Welcome back to the main auditorium, everybody. Have you had a good day? Yeah, has it been good? All right then. We're in the last little bit now, and then you can head off and get some refreshments. Celebrate the evening and all that. But our final speaker today, our final keynote, is from Marc Wiseler. He's Director of Solutions Consulting for UK and Ireland. He's been with Magento and Adobe for over 10 years in merchant-facing roles as well. Today he's here and he's going to give us a little preview of what's coming up on the roadmap for Adobe Commerce and Magento Open Source. So yeah, lots of interesting stuff there for you, pick up your ears and think, cool, I want to put that on my to-do list this year, okay? So please, for the last time, big, huge warm welcome for Marc Wiseler.
Thank you. Hello, everybody. Yeah, so nice to feel the buzz of the Magento community again. It's been, I believe, 4 years, maybe 5 years since I've been at a Meet Magento event, and it's been tough. I've missed it. It's such a good crowd. It's such a good audience. Thank you for the introduction. And yeah, so I worked at Magento for 5 years before we were acquired by Adobe, and it's just really good to see that we haven't lost energy, we haven't lost the passion that we have in this community. One thing I do have to be particularly careful of, although I don't see her here, but if Georgia is still in the room, I might use the word Magento a few times. So, Adobe Commerce, Magento, but I'll do my best to make both sides happy. From me and from everybody at Adobe, a huge thank you to JH, to Jamie and his team. They've done an absolutely fabulous job. So if we can give them a huge round of applause. Absolutely amazing job. If you see them tonight, if you see them later on, do thank them. It's a huge amount of work to put something like this together, and the community wouldn't be the same without organizations like them to do this for us. And also a huge thank you to all of you. You spend a day with us. You spend a day looking at Magento and Adobe Commerce presentations. So I want to thank you as well, and thank you to all the amazing speakers that we had today that have put a lot of hours into preparing the content that we've seen today. I, for one, saw a lot of really good presentations today, and I've learned quite a bit as well. So a successful event from that side. All that said, I know the last few years haven't necessarily been easy for the Magento community. Those of us that joined Adobe through the acquisition, together with a lot of you, we've worked tirelessly to explain to our new Adobe and my new Adobe colleagues what the community is about, explain that passion, explain the incredible amount of knowledge that we have around commerce and e-commerce. And I think given the sheer amount of approved Adobe speakers, and I didn't realize it was 51, but I was surprised myself by the slides Jamie showed this morning, and the 51 Adobe people in the room. I think together we've been successful at really bringing that Magento passion into Adobe. And those of you that were part of the Magento community 5 years ago recognize the slide. A little lazy, it's a 5-year-old slide, but it's as relevant as ever. So yeah, and those of us, again, that joined Adobe through the acquisition also made sure that Magento open source, what we used to call Magento community, keeps being looked after and keeps being developed and keeps being driven forward. And on this note, I also, a lot of thank yous today, but I also want to say a huge thank you to the Magento Association and all the incredible work that they do in helping with the development and the curation of the open source product on GitHub. Like, we see the huge amount of work that goes into that, so huge thank you to that. So again, if I can ask for a huge round of applause for the Magento Association. We definitely couldn't do this without you. And I've 5 years in Magento, 5 years in Adobe, so 10 years I've worked on this amazing product. For 10 years, I've been asked the same question. When is my Magento community going to disappear? When is Magento open source going to disappear? So very clearly for me, again, the message today, Magento open source is here to stay. It's a hugely important part of the product. It's a hugely important thing for us. And it's where our next generation of Adobe Commerce customers are going to come from as well. So hugely important to us as well. All of that said, let's have a look at the journey that Adobe Commerce is on. I want to talk about the huge amount of investments that are being put into the product. Jamie asked me to summarize the roadmap of the product in a couple of minutes up here. And to be honest, it's not possible. It's a 2, 3, sometimes 4-hour presentations. We take our customers on entire, days or couple of days worth of workshop to get through that content. There's so much innovation going into the product. There's so many different areas where we're developing the product. So instead of kind of rushing through a quick overview, I said, let me take 2 big examples and two of my kind of favorite topics, I guess, and walk through those. So I've one on the techie side. On the techie side, I want to talk a little bit about the nature of the product. Alex and Vlad, if you saw their session about an hour ago, highlighted some of those elements already. And then on the feature side, I want to talk about personalization. I know I've talked about that a lot already. I'll show you a little bit of the roadmap there when it comes to the feature set in Adobe Commerce. And if you do want to get a deeper understanding of the roadmap, we're very happy to do those sessions with you directly, or also, a lot of us are going to be available later on today as well if you have any specific questions. But let's look at the technology side first and start with what we're doing to change the very nature and the core of how the product works. We know that our customers' expectations are evolving. They're evolving quickly. And our customers want compelling and relevant experiences that are personalized to them in real time. Those experiences are set by the very best brands and experiences out there. And as your customers' expectations evolve, digital commerce has continued to accelerate. In 2022, the increase in digital sales year on year has outpaced traditional sales considerably, and also outpaced generally the growth in sales. And as a result, brands are always trying to improve and capture more of that share that's being spent online. And all of this has led to an increasing focus on digital transformation, and our customers want to deliver highly relevant and personalized digital experiences. Hopefully nothing new there, but it sets kind of the cornerstone of what we're trying to do. So that's kind of the market we're in. Now the challenge is to get there. So businesses today rely on a variety of solutions to deliver that experience. Often they come from multiple vendors. And to deliver kind of a cohesive customer journey, it takes a lot of systems being brought together, often dozens of systems being brought together to display what often to a customer might look like a simple e-commerce site. And customers come to us saying that they're struggling to launch quickly. So often it takes months, sometimes quarters to deliver a new capability, and sometimes even just to deliver a simple marketing campaign can take forever. Also, data that is needed for personalization sits in silos. Again, nothing new here, but these silos are often not accessible for the storefront that needs to personalize. And if it is accessible, often it's not accessible real time. So we're struggling with accessing data that we need to give our customers a good experience. And then, I think you're all very familiar with this, but maintaining a complex architecture and structure of different applications is just costly and inefficient. A small update you want to do to one system often leads to an avalanche of other systems that needs to be updated, and something that was supposed to take a couple of weeks ends up taking months of work, and that kind of the pitfalls that we want to avoid at all costs. And therefore, the very nature of Adobe Commerce is changing. It's changing rapidly, and it's becoming a true composable platform. We're committed to delivering a business-focused commerce platform that enables our customers and merchants to build and deliver features faster in a more efficient and a more effective way. What we call Commerce Foundation is what you know as the Magento core, so the PHP application. And the PHP application, that the core that includes all the features that you see on the slide here, things like page builder, your promotions, your B2B features, the catalog management. All of that forms part of Magento, Adobe Commerce, as you've known it. But as the nature of our platform changes, we're complementing this Commerce Foundation, so this core, with advanced services. These are SaaS services, the software as a service services, based cloud native, fully scalable. They're microservices, and they're hosted separately by Adobe. They're designed to use our Sensei AI and machine learning capabilities in the cloud, And they also take some of the computationally very heavy tasks away from your core so that you can run a leaner core that's more efficient. Today, these services include, again, our AI-powered live search and product recommendations tools, include merchant services for payments and channel management, and they also include storefront capabilities like catalog management. So again, these run separate from the PHP core. They run in the clouds, and they make your core lighter and easier to use. Launching in the near future, there are additional services. So we're right now working on an indexer that will run in the cloud, taking that potentially computationally heavy task away from the core. We're also working on a SaaS storefront that will run as a service. All the services are operate natively with the core, so there's no development work that you need to do to use these. And they can also scale independently. So each of these can scale up and down as needed, as traffic changes on your site or as you do other operations that require more capacity around promotions or payments. The idea here is to reduce the complexity and reduce total cost of ownership. And speaking of total cost of ownership, all of these are available to our Adobe Commerce customers right out of the box, so there's no extra license fees for any of these. The platform is now also an API-first platform, facilitating easy integration with third-party systems when needed. But as always, all of our capabilities ship with native admin functionality and customer-facing functionality. So there's no need for you to build UIs. They're there out of the box, but you can if you want to, and you can replace the functionalities and use them in a headless fashion or use your own front ends. We've also recently launched the API Mesh. API Mesh is an orchestration layer that can combine multiple sources of APIs into a single query, essentially. If needed, APIs can be extended right in the mesh with no need to modify any of the services that feed into the mesh. And essentially, it takes all the guesswork away and all that the complexity away from the front-end developers who don't need to really understand what systems they're connecting to or how they're getting information from third-party systems. They can just have one connection, one authentication directly to the API mesh, and from there get everything they need. Get everything they need to run the storefront. So that's kind of the techie side, a little bit of a preview of what's coming there and some of the things that we've launched in the recent past. So let's step away from the technology side and have a look at the merchandising side, at the personalization side. One topic that's without a doubt is driving most of the conversations I'm having with our customers is personalization, and I think every second session today was about personalization. So let me just show you what we've launched recently and what we're about to launch there. And a lot of buzzwords today. Personalization at scale, hyper-personalization, AI-driven personalization. My favorite one, the segment of one. Now, luckily, obviously we do all of the above, but probably the most impactful type of personalization you can do within the commerce platform is merchandising. So showing the customer the right products at the right time, just when they're ready to buy them. So that's what I'm going to focus on over the next few minutes. When we look at merchandising, there's three major categories that we're focusing our feature set on. There's search, product recommendations, and there is the browsing experience. In the last 12 months, we've launched Live Search, powered by Adobe Sensei, and we've also launched product recommendations powered by Adobe Sensei. Both tools offer our customers a personalized experience, showing customers the right products at the right time, just when they're ready to buy. And many of our customers have also been using our visual merchandiser tool for a few years now, but we do have some news there on what we're launching in the near future. So let's have a quick look at search. Getting search right is absolutely more important than ever, especially on mobile. As you can see on the slide, 40% of visitors use site search, and when they use search, they're twice as likely to convert than users that have not used search. Sadly, in over 60% of cases, we find that search on the website or search on e-commerce sites is not acceptable, is not good enough. So that's a lot of revenue potentially left on the table. And you can see some of the issues of why search is underperforming on the slide. Often we see issues with visibility. We see issues where there's no type as you search. We see bad filtering or sometimes no filtering at all. Sometimes we see products showing up but they're out of stock. So there's a lot of issues that we need to solve for. And that's exactly where Live Search, powered by Adobe Sensei, comes in. It has all those feature set that you need to run a good e-commerce experience. And Besson, I don't know if you were at Besson's sessions, she talked about this a lot. We've done a huge amount of development as part of Live Search over the last few months, and actually probably nearly a year now. And this is exactly, if we think back of my first part of the session, the technology side, this is one of those services that will run separately from your core and that we will keep up to date throughout the time that you use your website. So there's no need for you to go and update this separately. We will keep this up to date as needed. So some of the features that you have today, they're all on the slide here. So Live Search will do results as you type, and it does also have typo tolerance. So even throughout the type as you search, it will kind of figure out what you're trying to type if you're a terrible typer like myself. It has full synonym management capabilities and find the right products, even if the shopper isn't 100% sure what they're searching for, using different terms from you. So Georgia's example from this morning is perfect. Red, crimson, and all the other types of red that you can have, they can all be synonyms. They can be one-way synonyms or two-way synonyms. So maybe if you type in red, you'll see all the other types of red, but if you see crimson, you're not going to see coral and the rest of them. So you have that capability there. You have intelligent faceting, ranking, and the Live Search will automatically select the most relevant filters to show to the customer. It handles inventory statuses, and it will, of course, hide anything that's out of stock. And it is lightning fast. It produces results in under 200 milliseconds, so your customer never has to wait for search. Especially that 200 milliseconds is great through search as you type. So every letter, really, every keystroke will have new results popping up straight away. And it's B2B friendly. So if you've got different catalog sets for different types of customers, or specialized pricing for different customers, Live Search will take care of all of that and show the relevant products for that specific customer with the relevant pricing for them. The search result page then offers the customer flexibility by showing those intelligent facets. And you kind of see a quick example of that here. And while the default ranking in search is personalized to that user, so it's a one-to-one personalization for the user, and it's based on in-session actions that the user takes, you can, of course, you can see on the top right here, you can, of course, let the customer also choose their own ranking. So I know I often go on sites and I'll rank by price, starting with the lowest, kind of see, what's the cheapest, and then work my way up to maybe as far as the budget allows. And that's okay. We'll let the customer do that. Give them that flexibility. The results page also offers infinite scroll capabilities natively out of the box by default. And again, natively, without any changes, Live Search will offer best-in-class results and rankings. But there are many valid reasons why you might want to tweak those rankings or change those rankings. And whenever that's required, Live Search also gives you great flexibility to do that. You can optimize the results by creating your own optimization rules. They're easy to set up and can be previewed right in the back end as you set those rules up. There's a bunch of rules that you can set up and a bunch of tweaks that you can do to Live Search. So recommended for you ranks the results based on in-session browsing history as well as shopping history. And this is the true one-to-one or segment of one personalization. It is the default algorithm that the system uses if you do zero customization or zero tweaks. Works extremely well for returning customers that we have a little bit of information on. If you had Live Search running on your site and activated on your site for a bit, then the AI has been trained up through use, and it started learning from user behavior. Algorithms like most viewed, most added to carts, and most purchased can also be very useful and provide good results. And when you have products that are more cyclical, maybe seasonal, or you just have products that are anticipated to become bestsellers, you can also use the popular and trending algorithms, and they will show great results then. So that's search. So let's move on to product recommendations, what we're doing for those. Again, a lot of talk today about recommendations, and there's good reason for that. 30% of on-site revenue can come from product recommendations if you get this right. But again, the same 60%, well, I don't know if it's the same 60%, but it's the same number of 60% don't do this well. Often it's not done on a one-to-one basis. We see recommendations, again, the same mistake here of products that are out of stock. We see that the same recommendation types are used across all pages, so you just run a cross-sell everywhere instead of mixing it up and showing different products. And more recently, we also see pages that just overdo recommendations. They show too many products, and too much choice kills choice. If you have too much to choose from, you're never going to make a decision. So you don't want to. This is a new term for me, but decision fatigue. I hadn't heard that before preparing this, but decision fatigue then kicks in, and you're just not able to make a decision because you have too much choice. Our product recommendations powered by Adobe Sensei are designed to solve all of these issues. So we have 13 unique recommendation types geared toward different parts of your site, geared towards different parts of the buying cycle. There's dedicated reporting, impressions, and on impressions and on revenue generated. The recommendations are easy to deploy anywhere. There's drag and drop interfaces allowing you to set all this up. There's no need to code anything. There's visual similarity capability, which is great for cold starts, meaning you just enabled this. AIs generally need to be trained. So a cold start here is possible, and it uses the same visual technology that's built into Adobe Stock to look at similarity between products. This works very well in the fashion industry and in home goods industries. And you always remain in control. And again, you've got rules that you can have inclusions and exclusions. There's all kinds of tweaking that you can do to make sure that the recommendations also work for you and your business. I won't walk you through all 13 types of recommendations that we offer, but you can see a good overview in this slide. So broadly speaking, the recommendation types fit into 4 categories. Behavior-based, like view this, view that. Personalized, like recommended for you, and again, that's really one-to-one here. And then visually similar products, which we've just talked about. You have the ability to choose which algorithm you want to use in which part of the buying cycle and on which different on the different page types as well. So you can have different recommendations on the checkout and on the category pages and on individual product pages and so on. Great, and next let's look at the third type of merchandising personalization, and this impacts your category pages. Many customers still browse in a commerce site. A lot of people use search, but sometimes you don't know what you're searching for. You might be looking for inspiration. You don't have the exact search terms. You just don't know. So how do we personalize for that type of a user? Issues we see here are often that sites don't have a clear hierarchy, or there is no sorting, there is bad filtering. We often see zero personalization on category pages. It's just a bunch of products and that's it. And this is where the visual merchandiser that we've had in our platform for quite a while now comes in. We've included the visual merchandiser for quite a few years now. You're probably familiar with this. Great drag and drop interface. It's a simple way to create categories and trees within the backend. You can use smart categories that fields categories automatically based on attributes like brand or color, and product sorting can also be automated. They're great tools, but they're a little bit crude. So we're working very hard here to launch an intelligent browse optimization tool. And we know the visual merchandiser is good, but it's not enough. So this is kind of the next generation that we're working on. This tool can be activated across all category pages, and we'll use a mixture of the capabilities that we've seen in live search and in the product recommendations to automatically, for every user that comes to your site, change the ranking within each of the categories to show them the most relevant products. Intelligent browse optimization, I hope you find a better name for that, but it's that for now. Intelligent browse optimization will respond to user behavior real time and uses, again, in-session browsing data that we gather as well as purchase history to optimize rankings. It'll offer great performance right out of the box and will, of course, again, give you similar controls than we've seen in the last two sections. There's a lot more that's on our roadmap. Again, it's too much to go through in half an hour, but just to give you a glimpse into a few things, we're working on really slick new B2B features. Great new features coming there. A lot of work going into our cloud product as well. I know that there is blue-green deployments coming. There's further investments in the SaaS-based services. So I've mentioned two before, but there's more of these SaaS-based services coming in the near future. And more we're going to start replacing capabilities that are in the core and bringing them into these SaaS microservices to make the platform even more composable than it is already today. There's that unified headless storefront coming. So we're building our own storefront that is completely separate from the back end. A lot of simplification happening in the back end. We've built so many cool features, and they're all coming into the admin panel. We're working on a slicker admin panel as well. There's very nice 3D visualization capabilities coming for the front end. Again, something that obviously Adobe has a huge amount of experience in. And then we're working on even better and faster personalization. So in terms of kind of roadmap and feature set, that's all I have time for, other than one feature that I do want to spend a few seconds on. If you haven't tried, well, let me ask, who's tried Firefly? Who's kind of worked with? Okay, so some of you haven't. Thank you for those that have. I love the tool. It's great. It's obviously a very early iteration of what's possible with this technology. But if you haven't used Firefly yet, do give it a go. Our engineering teams are working very hard to extend Firefly functionality into Adobe Commerce, and I really can't wait to see what they come up with that we can do. I know there's a session as well if you want to look at a session from Summit. And there's a whole session on Firefly and Adobe Commerce, so feel free to watch that. But just to kind of finish up, I thought we'll do a quick question. So I used a prompt this morning to generate an image that's relatively relevant to the Magento community. I don't know if Brent is still here. I think I saw him before. I don't think we've talked before, Brent, but you're not allowed to answer the question if it comes up. So I'll show you a picture, and if anybody knows what the prompt was that I put into Firefly, you just shout it out. There you go. Good. That was it. Big damn run. That's right. So Firefly's interpretation of the big damn run. That's damn spelled D-A-M, not anything else. It's an annual event by Magento and now the Adobe Commerce community where a bunch of us run 10K across the Hoover Dam between Arizona and Nevada. Coincides usually with Magento Live back in the day or today with the Adobe Summit. But yeah, thank you so much. That's it for me. Again, I want to say a huge thank you to JH and Jamie and his team for an incredible job that they did with the event. Thank you so much, everyone, for attending. Thank you to the Magento Association and the work that they've put in. And yeah, I'll pass back to Jamie, who hopefully will show me the way to the booth. What's coming next? Thank you very much, everyone.